On the final episode of Pokemon Journeys, we got a closer look into Professor Friede's crew, also known as the Rising Voltaclers. The crew name being totally iconic, and of course is in reference to the fact that it's Pikachu's signature move. Including the captain, Friede, we now know of 5 members thus far, and so let's take a deep dive into them, what we know about them so far, and what they could potentially add to the story. Just like Friede, we aren't alone today, as I'm joined by an elite trainer today, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, it's Mark, and I know Luop just compared me to one of Friede's crew members, but honestly, of the Horizons characters that have been announced so far, Nidothing is the one who speaks to me the most. Anyways, Luop, go ahead and finish your intro.
Looking as sharp as ever, Mark. Anyways, let's take a look at Friede along with everyone else that's part of the Rising Voltaclers and give our impressions as well as the other theories that we can come up with, starting with the captain himself. Friede is not only the captain of the Rising Voltaclers, but is also a Pokemon professor. Initially, it looked like he was going to be a third traveling companion, and I still think he's going to have that distinction, but he will be traveling the world on a ship. His partner Pokemon is the already infamous Captain Pikachu, which is voiced by Ikue Otani. If you didn't know her, she's famous for her role as Missy's Goldeen. I guess she also voiced Ash's Pikachu, but whatever. Friede and Captain Pikachu's personality will definitely shine bright. A battling Pokemon professor which looks as cool as Friede will definitely be one of the best characters in Pokemon Horizons. Man, I still gotta get used to calling it that name, but I do really enjoy the name. We also see that Friede is riding on a Charizard, and that's not confirmed to be his yet, but one can speculate that it might be, or at the very least is his right Pokemon. Being a Pokemon professor really opens up a lot of possibilities for Friede, as in theory he would have access to so many Pokemon from so many different regions. Both Captain Pikachu and Friede are going to be amazing. Even though we virtually know nothing about them, I just know that they're both going to be great, and will probably teeter on being some of my favorite Pokemon characters ever. I wonder if the same can be said about Orla.
According to Bulbapedia, Orla is a machine enthusiast, whatever that means, so I guess she's going to be a tomboyish character that handles the mechanical functions of Friede's airship. Very little is known about her, but they have revealed her partner Pokemon to be Metagross. My belief is that the Rising Voltaclers are not going to catch many Pokemon themselves. I think they will be like Ash's Alolan classmates in that they each have a partner Pokemon, and that's mainly who they will stick with throughout the entire series. They're not going to end up with full teams. And really, what other Pokemon do you need when you already have a Metagross? Aesthetically, it fits Orla's role of being a mechanic, and I'm sure it's pretty capable in battle too. It is a pseudo-legendary after all. I can see Orla being a fun character who is always in a lighthearted mood, but what about Murdock?
Murdock has a cool character design and his partner Pokemon is Rockruff. My first impression of him is that he's going to be this macho guy who's actually a total softie personality-wise. He's going to be the person in charge of cooking for the group, so he's basically a Brock or Sidon-like character. Immediately when I saw Murdock, the first thing that came into my head is that he's friends with Kofu. They are both cooks, and they kind of look like they might know each other. Maybe Murdock used to cook under Kofu and then decided to venture off on his own to practice his cooking skills while he traveled the world with Friede and the others. And an interesting fact about him is that if you look at his hair, you can kind of see a fork and a knife, so you know that Murdock takes his cooking skills very seriously. He even got blessed with having a really cool voice actor that has voiced some cool voice people in the past. His voice actor is Kenta Miyake, and he is notable for voicing Giovanni and Cyrus. Maybe Murdock turns out to be evil towards the end of the series, with us getting hints of it spread throughout. Again, my first impression of him is that he's going to look like he's a very serious and muscular guy, and he's going to be intimidating, but once you get to know him, he's going to be super happy and just loves cooking so much. I'm sure that Mark has something to say about Mollie, so let's pass him the mic.
Okay, so straight off the bat with Mollie, she's got a pink color scheme and a Chansey for a partner Pokemon. Huge Nurse Joy vibes coming from her. Maybe we'll learn that part of Mollie's backstory is that she belongs to the massive family tree of Nurse Joys, but she rejected that way of life and chose to travel with Friede in order to live a life of adventure instead. Some other potential theories could be that this Mollie is actually Mollie Hale all grown up from the third movie, or maybe the Mollie who appeared in episode 167 of the Advanced Generation series. Or what about the Mollie from the Battle Chateau in episode 20 of the XY series? Alright, I'll stop running through the entire list of Mollies in the history of the Pokemon anime and get back to talking about the Mollie in Pokemon Horizons. Unsurprisingly, Mollie is a healing specialist, so there's no shock there. While Chansey is her partner Pokemon, I could easily see her befriend other Pokemon that traditionally help with healing, like Comfey or Chimecho. Maybe some Paldean Pokemon that fit into that mold would be Rabsca or Arboliva, but like I said earlier when I talked about Orla, I don't really see any of these characters having big teams of Pokemon, so I could also see Mollie just sticking with Chansey the whole time. Just based off first impressions, Mollie looks like she will have a quiet, serious demeanor, but really, we know next to nothing about her. Honestly, the only member of the Rising Voltaclers we know less about is Ludlow, so I cannot wait to hear what Luop has to say about him.
Lastly, we have Ludlow. He is the fisherman of the crew and the only one so far without a known Pokemon. My theory is quite simple. He's a shape-shifting Drampa.
What?
Just kidding, but that would be pretty cool and would make absolutely no sense. I can see Ludlow hailing from the Alola region and is in fact Lana's grandfather. Even if Lana doesn't return, even if Ash doesn't return, I just want to see some old characters make a return as a good nod to the original series. It would be a really weird stretch for this to be the case, but hear me out. Back in the day, Ludlow was in Melamel Island and he was friends with a Drampa who would accompany him when he went to sea to go fishing, and then just one day he lost contact with said Drampa. This Drampa would of course end up being Grandpa Forest and would eventually save his granddaughter one day. I think that Ludlow probably does have a partner Pokemon on hand, it just hasn't been revealed yet, or it could have some tragic backstory as to why he doesn't have one. Regardless, I think he's gonna of course be a grandfather figure to both Liko and Roy, and whenever they struggle with something, Ludlow will be there to give them that god tier advice to help cheer them up and make them cheerful again. I look forward to seeing what shenanigans he gets into. So those are the Rising Voltaclers in a nutshell. Big thanks to Needlething, Mark, for coming to the channel and helping me decipher and break down the crew with the limited information that we do have. Out of the members that we know thus far, which is your favorite? Mine would probably be Friede or Murdock based off of first impressions. But I'm curious to know which one of these members do you like the best on first impression?
Oh, I know. My favorite based off first impressions is, I don't know, actually. I was hoping I could say Needlething, but oh well. Instead, I'll go with Orla. I mean, she's got the coolest partner Pokemon out of any of the characters that have already been announced, and it seems like she'll have a fun personality as well.
Again, big thanks to Needlething, Mark, for coming onto the channel once again. He is extremely close to hitting 10,000 subscribers, so let's do our best to go help and support him reaching such a huge milestone. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribing to this channel so I can reach my next milestone of 50,000, which would be a huge milestone in my career. And finally, join the Discord to talk about everything Pokemon from the anime to the games. We have the best members in all of the Pokemon community, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy your time there. If you made it this far into the video, I truly appreciate you, but for now, it's been your boy Luap, and I'm out. Peace.